We need to start talking about what could happen to AEW if WWE swoops in and gets the Warner Bros. Discovery deal. You know, for a long time, Warner and AEW's deal seemed to be really strong, and their relationship seemed to be really strong. And there's an actual legitimate possibility that WWE is getting ready to announce a TV deal with Warner Bros. Discovery, which is honestly something I wouldn't have imagined if you asked me a year ago. Now, the reality is WWE has kind of positioned them in a very good way. I've been very keen on saying that WWE having multiple different TV partners is not something I'm in favor of. But I kind of get it. I mean, literally think about this for a second. WWE announces NXT with the CW. SmackDown is moving back to USA. And for hypothetical purposes, just, for shits and giggles, let's say WWE Raw signs with Warner Bros. Discovery. Those are 3 networks that AEW will automatically be disqualified from signing with. I mean, technically anything is possible, but there's just no way that I see WWE allowing themselves to be on a television network where their competition is also on that same television network. It just wouldn't make sense for WWE. So in that aspect, it kind of makes sense for WWE to have multiple television partners because that, at this stage of the game, it limits AEW's possibilities, especially when you consider the idea that WWE Raw going on TNT or TBS, it's a massive possibility, and that is absolutely astonishing to me. It's also astonishing for multiple reasons because we don't know what's going to happen to WWE's tape library. I mean, let's face it. WWE is currently going to be on Peacock for a little bit longer. But if WWE joins Warner Bros. Discovery, which tape library is more valuable? AEW or WWE? You got to remember, WWE has access to so much content. And that's part of the reason why Peacock is such a valuable streaming service. And Warner Bros. Discovery has always been trying to get into the realm of live sports. So you have to wonder if that is attractive for Warner Bros. Discovery. And newsflash, I don't think it takes a genius to understand this part, but it is very attractive. The reality is that streaming services are struggling, and HBO Max has pretty ambitious goals. So if they were to bring in the WWE Network and their pay-per-views on HBO Max, it would be a game changer for Warner Bros. Discovery. But the reality is, AEW would be left to find another television partner. And then you got to start wondering about AEW's additional content, right? Rampage and Collision were both formed with the hopes of having more content on Warner Bros. Discovery. We know ROH couldn't get a TV deal with Warner Bros. Discovery. And obviously there's been rumors about Warner Bros. Discovery doing 12 AEW pay-per-views a year. We've heard the rumors that they wanted AEW to do more content. But those same requests or those same things that Warner Bros. Discovery may have wanted from AEW are already things that they can get from WWE. In addition to that, I'm very intrigued by the possibility of what happens to those additional shows if Warner Bros. Discovery ends up leaving AEW. See, the reality is, it's not that AEW has done anything wrong. In fact, they are a top 5 performer on television every Wednesday, which is fantastic. But for Warner Bros. Discovery, this is a business decision, and you got to look at whether or not you want AEW or if you want WWE. Obviously, there is more money that can come in from WWE. Therefore, as a business, they are more than likely going to choose WWE over AEW. And I understand a lot of fans may not like that idea. I understand that. I truthfully understand why fans may not like that idea. But at the end of the day, it's not about necessarily what the fans want. It's about what Warner Bros. Discovery wants. They want to increase the value of HBO Max. If you could bring in WWE Raw and then later on bring in the network, that's a massive win. If you're Warner Bros. Discovery and you could bring in WWE Raw, you have the opportunity to do so much more than you could with AEW. Because the reality is, WWE can launch new shows. They can do specials. And that's something that Warner Bros. Discovery would probably want. But I think the big thing is that when you look at WWE Raw, and more specifically, you look at the value of WWE Raw, there is so many benefits from working with WWE because of that roster. You want to do the cross-promotion stuff with TNT, TBS, the NBA stuff and all that good stuff. You can do those things with talent from WWE Raw. In addition to that, CM Punk is now in WWE. Big Bill Phil. David Zaslav. Big fan of CM Punk. You have to wonder if that makes it even more enticing. I'm having the struggle to find any sort of potential TV network partners for AEW if they were to lose the TBS TNT deal. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying it's doom and gloom. I'm not saying they're dead. I'm not saying the company's going bye-bye. What I'm saying is I'm just having a hard time trying to figure out what TV partner would bring them in. Would it be a Netflix, Amazon type of thing? Would it be a scenario where maybe Paramount gets back into wrestling? CBS, ESPN, I don't know. I just cannot imagine WWE having SmackDown on USA and then USA obviously having Peacock as well in WWE pay-per-views. I can't imagine WWE allowing them to put AEW on Sci-Fi or NBC or USA Network. I just don't think that's a possibility. And I sure as hell don't think WWE is going to allow the CW Network to bring in AEW. So I'm having a hard time understanding which TV providers would bring in AEW. And I do believe, don't get it twisted, I do believe there's someone there willing to spend the money. I do. I just don't know which one it would be. And it's interesting because the relationship in my mind has always been really good for AEW to have Warner Bros. It seems like their partnership's been great. But now we're getting closer and closer to WWE's reveal, and it doesn't sound like that may actually be the case anymore, and that's because WWE is a real potential possibility. And then we also got to feel for the NBA rights, right? Like we kind of have to get an understanding of what can happen with NBA rights, because that right there is another big key to the puzzle that I think a lot of people are also forgetting. It's so interesting to see how things are unfolding, but guys, I will keep you updated on my main channel at youtube.com/Ango. When we get the scoops, we'll keep you guys in the loop, right? So, yeah, what's going to happen to AEW if they lose the TBS TNT deal? I have no idea, but this is a great time to be a fan of wrestling because of the fact that there's just literally so much that can happen right now. And really anything can happen. I didn't think CM Punk would ever come back to WWE. Now he's back in WWE. I didn't think there was ever a legitimate chance that WWE takes AEW TV deal, but it looks like that could potentially happen. So that's my point. Literally anything could happen, and that's when wrestling is more fun. And this should be definitely an interesting time period to see how things unfold.